this is question number 15, and it gives us the function x minus 5 over x plus 2, and it wants us to find the range in the zeros, and then it wants to know if the graph crosses its horizontal asymptote. So I graphed it here pretty quickly, but the way that I did that is I knew I had a vertical asymptote at x equals -2, so I went ahead and drew that. I knew I had a 0 at x equals 5 because I said the numerator equals 0, so I graphed that. And then I knew that I had a horizontal asymptote at the ratio of my leading coefficients because both the numerator and the denominator had a degree of 1. So I knew I had a horizontal asymptote at y equals 1. So based on that, I graphed it. I just plugged in 0, and I got -5/2. And so I knew that my graph was going like this, and that it would be reflected, and you can also plug in values. So the range then is from -infinity to 1, union with 1 to +infinity. And the reason that I know that this will never cross its horizontal asymptote is because you can set this equal to 1, and then you subtract it over and find a common denominator. So you've got x minus 5 minus x minus 2, and I just did that by multiplying this by x plus 2 over x plus 2, and then subtracting it over all over x plus 2, and then I have set that to equal to 0. And so I get -5 minus 7, so -7 over x plus 2 is equal to 0. Well, remember, for something to equal 0, the numerator has to equal 0, and -7 will never equal 0. So that's how I know that it does not cross my horizontal asymptote. And so my range then is all values excluding 1, which I will never get to. And then I have a 0 where my numerator is equal to 0, so that's at x is equal to 5. And you have a vertical asymptote at where your denominator is equal to 0, and that's at x equals -2. And that is all your information. So does your graph ever cross your horizontal asymptote? No. That's question number 15.